Thailand's previous king, King Bhumibol Adulyadej, also known as King Rama IX, developed over the course of several decades what is now known as the Sufficiency Economy. If you travel across Thailand, you will see millions of Thais having put it into practice and are reaping the rewards of this simple but powerful method of building economic, natural, and also social wealth. But critics claim it's nonsense, that it's merely a scheme to convince ordinary people to embrace poverty, forgo luxury, and to accept their place at the bottom of Thai society. But this is entirely untrue. These critics are often career academics, many of whom have never worked a real job in the real world outside the walls of their universities. These critics, if they honestly researched sufficiency economics and how people have put it into practice, would see that it is actually a path out of poverty and a plan to build sustainable wealth. Critics like anthropologist Andrew Walker of the Australian National University wrote for US government-funded Prachatai that sufficiency economics is about denying people TVs, stopping them from connecting to the internet, and preventing them from earning enough to provide their children with an education. He also claims that the King's Royal Projects, which create markets for farmers all across the country and even helps export crops abroad, somehow contradicts the fundamentals of sufficiency economics, which he claims is to just barely survive. It's almost as if Andrew Walker either didn't read the Thai government's own explanation of sufficiency economics, or he read it and despite his extensive Western education couldn't comprehend it. Either that, or what's much more likely, he's just being dishonest for obvious politically motivated reasons, which I'll explain a little later. Nothing about sufficiency economics talks about remaining poor, or avoiding economic growth, or denying your children an education. For many Thais, following sufficiency economics has actually allowed them to earn enough to reinvest in their family farms, send their children to university, and yes, even buy TVs, connect to the internet, and all the other things people like Andrew Walker claim sufficiency economics is designed to deny people. Sufficiency economics is a ladder upward. It's based on first building a solid economic base for yourself and your family, making sure you have enough food on your farm to feed yourself, enough water stored for your personal use and for agriculture, and then building up economic activity to earn additional money. That money is supposed to then be saved and carefully reinvested in growing additional crops, both for consumption and diversifying what a family sells. That money should also be reinvested in technology and equipment used in value-added processing, like packaged food items that last longer and make more profits. When families in a village have reached this level, sufficiency economics encourage villagers to form cooperatives, co-investing in infrastructure to expand economic activities beyond basic agriculture. This includes building drying and storage facilities, mills, investing in marketing, and other important aspects needed to build wealth through agriculture. At one point, Andrew Walker, who criticized sufficiency economics, claimed, quote, "I disagree that agriculture does have the potential to provide a basis for local sufficiency. To put the issue very simply, there are simply not enough agricultural resources to support the livelihoods that people in the rural area want," end quote. I wonder, does Andrew Walker realize that one of Thailand's largest corporations, CP, is a multi-billion-dollar multinational enterprise that makes its money through agriculture? Now, while a village of farmers will not transform into a multi-billion-dollar enterprise like CP, there is certainly the potential for them to create the infrastructure needed to grow a variety of crops, process them into value-added products, market and ship them all over the country and even abroad, and in the process make more than enough money to sustain a very comfortable living instead of just getting by. And that is exactly what sufficiency economics is a blueprint for, to help farmers achieve this and avoid depending on government handouts by corrupt populist leaders or ending up overly dependent on giant corporations like CP. In a way, it's a form of wealth redistribution where farmers and others in society take a piece of the pie for themselves by building themselves up instead of waiting for the government or large corporations to just simply hand it to them. Under sufficiency economics, you are not supposed to embrace poverty. You're supposed to take careful steps to climb up out of it and then stay out of it. That's why encouraging people to avoid debt is a key part of sufficiency economics and why building wealth is encouraged in a careful step-by-step process where each step is taken when enough resources are available to take it. While King Rama IX certainly pioneered and promoted sufficiency economics here in Thailand, demonstrating how it could be used in Thailand's context, many of the ideas of sustainable economic growth are ideas people all around the world use, including incredibly wealthy individuals and companies. For example, the sign of a good company listed on the stock exchange in any nation is one that is making more money than it is spending. In other words, a company avoiding debt. Another sign of a good company is one that reinvests its profits wisely. It's common sense. And in Thailand, this common sense approach has demonstrably helped millions of people not only build better lives for themselves, but even survive economic hardship when others who depended on populist handouts or suffered in debt could not. From 2011 to 2014, the government of Yingluck Chinawat oversaw a rice subsidy program that offered above market prices for Thailand's rice farmers. The plan meant that the Thai government would collect rice from farmers, pay them a fixed price per ton, and sell the rice at a loss overseas, since other nations like Vietnam were still exporting rice at cheaper, market-driven prices. Because of the extra money offered by the government, corrupt middlemen, including those in Yingluck's own government, sold low-quality rice to maximize their profits, and even imported rice from neighboring countries to resell it at higher Thai government-subsidized prices. Between the higher prices the government was trying to sell the rice for and the decreased quality being sold abroad, trade partners stopped buying from Thailand and imported from elsewhere. So, it didn't take long for this rice scheme to run out of money and for Thailand's rice industry to begin collapsing. Eventually, over 1 million rice farmers would end up having their rice taken away to government warehouses, but went unpaid for up to 6 months. Those who depended on this rice scheme and on rice farming, and rice farming alone, suffered terribly. Some farmers resorted to suicide as a means of escaping the sort of debt and overdependence on government handouts sufficiency economics teaches people to avoid. Debt and overdependence on government handouts, people like Australian National University's Andrew Walker thinks farmers should embrace. However, farmers who followed the principles of sufficiency economics had already long ago diversified their economic activities, growing more than just rice to supplement their income. And because they were also free of debt, when the government failed to pay them for their rice, their ability to expand their supplemental crop production and make ends meet until the crisis was over saved them from the same tragedy suffered by many others. Sufficiency economics isn't just for farmers, and definitely not just for poor people. These are principles that anyone can use, and most successful people do use them, both in their personal lives and when running their businesses. If you go to the Royal Chitralada project in Bangkok, a showcase for the Thai King's sufficiency economic principles in practice, you will find all sorts of facilities and training for a wide variety of economic activities, not just agriculture. because that's the thing about sufficiency economics. Anyone can use these ideas. Whatever your chosen occupation in life might be, following sufficiency economics simply means living within your means, but saving money to reinvest so that your means continue to grow. And with it, so will your wealth and your ability to do more of the things in life that you want to do. There's no shortcut to get rich quick. Wealth takes time, patience, and careful planning to build. Taking shortcuts often is the fastest path to debt, frustration, broken families, and a whole host of other problems. Building wealth, step by step, is not embracing poverty. It is defeating it and making sure it remains defeated. It allows an individual to create a strong foundation to build their family on, and strong families are what strong nations are built on. King Rama IX is remembered as a great king because of his tireless work and the millions of lives he helped improve through that work. This work continues under King Rama X, and sufficiency economics has inspired projects all over the country, ranging from organic farming, aquaculture, to solar energy, and even 3D design and 3D printing, because my own project, where I've helped local hospitals develop locally designed and manufactured solutions to healthcare challenges, was directly inspired by King Rama IX's work. I took King Rama IX's principles and simply applied modern technology to it, just like he told people to. And just like a farmer would use a mill to add value to their crops on a local level, I used cheap 3D printers to add value to the improvised solutions local medical professionals came up with. We manufactured these solutions locally. We saved money, reduced dependence on large suppliers, and we showed how this idea could grow into the future. So sufficiency economics works. It really does build both strong families and communities, and together this makes Thailand stronger. And that's why enemies of Thailand, people like Andrew Walker of the Australian National University and many others across the West, attack it. Not because it doesn't work, but because it does work. It makes Thailand strong, and it protects the country from foreign exploitation, like from foreign banks who love creating debt. Just think back to the 1990s and the Tom Yam Goong crisis, the IMF and the World Bank. Sufficiency economics helps protect Thailand from that. And so people who care about Thailand should try to learn about it, protect it, and promote sufficiency economics. It's not only a good way to honor King Rama IX for his lifetime of work for Thailand, but a way to help ensure what he did for Thailand lives on well into the future. If you want more information about the sufficiency economy, I have links to several videos and articles in the video description below. I also have some information about how to support my work, like my Patreon account, which allows you to not only contribute something monthly, but it also gives you content and other benefits in return. Please like and share this video if you thought it was useful. If you subscribe to my channel, that really helps the channel grow, and I really do appreciate that. And as always, thank you very much for watching.